Hello and welcome to this week's Gems of War Guild Event Planner. I'm Guardian Namek, Guild Leader of Loot and Plunder. This week's focus is the Doom Tower, where we just need to use green, which is quite the wide net. But after running some numbers on the Forest of Thorns units, here are the units you want to use. This is the team I plan on using. I do find it slightly ironic as I focused on Forest of Thorns and have a grand total of 1 unit from there. I was quickly able to find Forest of Thorns does not have much in the way of mana generation. It has some amazing units, but outside of the damage department, it is kind of lacking. But the key thing with my team is gonna have the Setite warrior because he gives armor to an ally and then deals damage based off that armor. And then you have Roana, who deals scatter damage boosted by her armor, but even at a stronger rate. The reason I don't have her first is because I need to make sure someone sucks up the punches, and if she takes damage, then she's doing less damage. Then I have the Leprechaun for charging. It was a hard decision to try and figure out, okay, who am I going to have to actually charge the group? And I landed on the Leprechaun. And then you have to have the Doomed Broadsword for extra points. And that is incredibly important for the guild. My focus with the event for this week was going to be Forest of Thorns. There's some really good damage. As I denoted earlier, Roana does a lot of damage, even without being boosted up, just her base stats. She is one of the highest DPM characters that there are that I've noted in my spreadsheets. There's a few ones that are better, like Tesla, but all things considered, she is still very good. The Werestag also does some really good damage, as they do true damage to the first and last foes. And with this trait and other characters that also have this trait, it means there can be a lot of lycanthropy gems on the field, which then allows it to make a lot of doom skulls, which then means it also does skull busting damage. King Avalorn also is a good damage dealer and summoner, as they do damage boosted off elf, elemental, and beast allies, basically anything you can find in the Forest of Thorns. And then he does a summon, and his damage is an AoE, so it's much stronger than most. And he also can buff elf allies with 50% mana. Now, there aren't too many good elf options in the Forest of Thorns under just green, so that doesn't come into play as much, as definitely seems with green. It's more of a mix and match. Now, we've covered Venoxia before, but as they are also green, they still are doing really good damage because they do AoE true damage, good amount of it, and it really comes to the case of, true damage is just kind of indisputed king of damage. Like, you get a high enough damage and AoE, you're doing golden. And then on top of that, they create green and blue gems, which can easily charge themselves and anyone on this team. The only reason I'm not doing them is because you are having to rely on matches being made with this, where by blowing up the board with the Leprechaun, you're nearly guaranteed to always have a good time. Now, with the mana characters, the first is going to be the Leprechaun, as I denoted earlier. It's just, you explode the board, nice and stable. And the reason I'm doing the Leprechaun over some of the other choices is also because it has Empowered. So it gets to go first. So I can get the Doom train running right off the bat. Now, Queen Isabel is also a really good option. I was debating on using her, but because of the fact that she uses blue and green, just like Roana does, it makes it more difficult to get as good of use out of her. But she is also really good in many departments. She's a damage dealer, a buffer, and a mana generator. She does damage to the first enemy based off an ally's attack. She then buffs said ally, so they get more attack and armor. so she gets to do more damage in future things. And in case of this, she can buff up Rowana, so then Rowana does more damage. And then she gives mana to everyone but herself, which is really nice. It just really came down to she's using the same mana, and I don't think the 3 to 8 mana is going to be generating enough to be able to use Rowana often enough to make this worth it. Now, 2 other really good Exploder mana generators are going to be Fundingus, because he explodes 18 purple gems and also summons and gets an extra turn. The extra turn part is really nice, and I may end up switching to him due to the fact that, again, no conflicting colors other than green, but that's guaranteed in this event. But because of the guaranteed extra turn, more explosions, the only downside is he does not have Empowered. But because I'm going to have the enchanted potion that gives everyone enchanted at the beginning, I may not need Empowered. And then the Plague Rat is also pretty good because of the high number of exploded brown gems. And I don't necessarily need the focus on brown gems, but the large number has a good chance of getting everything in the field. And that is pretty much it. There are tons of green units that are great and, worthy of choosing. I just have not put them in as there are a lot of green units. I do hope that this info was helpful for both starting and veteran players of Gems of War. If it was helpful to you, give that subscribe button a click and also like the video, as I plan on doing these every Monday, both to help my guild and for fun. Till next week, have fun plundering.